Hello, welcome to Cat Mama Tarot. Lola is here with us. Today I am doing, well, I was calling it a midweek check-in. It's Thursday. I mean, I guess it's technically midweek if you count the whole week. It still kind of counts. But yeah, I was going to do this yesterday, and I should maybe wait to shuffle. I was going to do this yesterday, but every time I started, something got in the way. Many times it was Lola. And then it was my mom calling, and then this and that. Yeah, so I cut my losses, and I didn't do it when I was going to do it in the afternoon, and then I was going to do it in the evening, but then I got tired. So I'm doing it today. And then lo and behold, I got my new Oracle deck today. So I was like, ooh, I guess I was supposed to wait so that I could use my new Oracle deck. It is, I mean, I'm not very good at sharing with you my different decks, which I should get better at that. But my new deck is the Wisdom of Birds. Huge bird fan, aspiring birder. So we will use that along with the Muse Tarot, I think it's called. And we're going to do this reading by element. So I'm going to start with fire signs, do a little check-in for you all, energetic check-in, see what messages we have. And then I'll do earth signs, air signs, and then water signs. And you can find timestamps below if you want to go right to any particular reading. Or of course, feel free to watch all of them for yourself, for any placements in your chart, for your loved ones. Yeah, let's dive in. All right, we are starting with fire signs. So Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Am I missing anybody? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Now, all right, let's see what messages we have for you on this Thursday, May 7th, 2026. What do we got for our fire signs? Oh, hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me. Some cards are like trying to fly out, and yet they're not flying out. Is anybody having any travel delays? That's what came to mind. All right, here we go. We've got the Page of Pentacles, the Queen of Wands, and the World, and the Muse of Inspiration, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is essentially the King of Wands, and the Knight of Wands. Wow. We've got a lot of court cards here, a lot of people. And when I say people, I don't always feel like it's other people, because I don't really read about other people. I'm tapping into your energy, our energy, the collective energy. And court cards for me are more about different qualities that you're being encouraged to embody. So let's start with our page of materials in this deck, but it's the Page of Pentacles, which the Page of Pentacles is the student, the learner, the patient learner who is planting seeds in order to grow an abundance of, in this case, maybe flowers. And this reminds me of, that blossoming card, right? So the intent is to plant seeds that will eventually blossom and result in an abundant harvest and a beautiful harvest. Yeah, and I'm just thinking about the roses here and how they really appeal to multiple senses, right? They smell beautiful, they look beautiful, they don't always feel beautiful, right? So there may be some growing pains here, or some challenges that you have to overcome as part of this process. The thorns on the rose, you got to be careful of those. Yeah, we don't, well, I guess we do maybe sometimes eat. There are things with rose in them, I think, to eat. I'm not thinking of anything right now. But anyway, appealing to all the senses, like sensory experiences may be involved here. But you're at the beginning of something. There's an initiation of something, some seeds that you're planting. And it's going to require some patience because this is for the long term. Pentacles, you know, things don't happen fast with the Pentacles. Then you have the Queen of Wands. What a beautiful, or the Queen of Inspiration in this deck. Beautiful rendition here, speaking to creativity, to, you know, I'm just noticing the strings here, reminding me of strings of an instrument. And she knows how to play her instrument, right? She is completely confident while also being at peace. You know, she's just in such a state of peace and bliss. And the Queen of Wands is known for following her happiness. We have the sun represented, right? She's like right there in the heart of the sun, in the heart of her happiness. She also is unapologetically herself. So she is very authentic and true to herself. And she is extremely charming and magnetic, while also being a real, exuding a lot of warmth and nurturing energy. Okay, I'll get to kind of the summary message. I'm just going to talk about the cards first. Then we have the World here. And the World is really all about completion, achieving something, successfully accomplishing something that you've been working on, and closing out some kind of cycle or some chapter or some phase of life. And, you know, I'm also being reminded that the World is represented by Saturn. And I'm hearing discipline, which has been a theme that has come up a little bit here and there. So there's a need for discipline. I mean, I think what I'm seeing here is that, and actually this one too, but I can't hold all of them. Let's see if I can maybe. So we've got kind of the formula for success here. We've got the Page of Materials or Page of Pentacles, planting those seeds, patiently tending to your garden, enjoying the experience, right? Tapping into the sensory experiences while also, you know, being careful of the thorns, right? And kind of navigating things in a way where you're not getting cut up by the thorns, right? Any challenges that you face. And what's going to help with that is embodying that Queen of Wands, right? So getting into that space of confidence, of trust in yourself, following your bliss, following your happiness, tuning into who you really are and really allowing yourself to be your complete authentic self and operating from that place of authenticity. We also have the King of Wands here, who is, so you've got the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands, so you've got both the divine masculine and divine feminine aspects of the wands, right? So the Queen is going to be about receptivity and creativity and transformation, and the King is going to be, or the Muse in this case, is going to be about determination. And they're both passionate, but the King of Wands has been through a lot and knows how to get through anything and knows that they can achieve anything that they want to. I feel like they both kind of know this, but you've got kind of this more proactive, determined spirit where it's just like going for it. And then you have the more receptive, trusting, knowing, feminine aspects of this passion that is that you're pursuing. And by basically embodying these three different people, these three different court cards, it's going to lead you to success, right? And what's also required for success is that discipline that we talked about. Not only do you have fire signs, the Queen of Wands, the King of Wands, but you also have the Knight of Wands. So we have it's interesting. We have the Page of Materials, the Queen of Wands, well, the Page of Materials, the Knight of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and the King of Wands. So you have all levels of the court cards represented, but you have a little bit of a mix. Not much. Mostly Wands, mostly that passion, mostly that inspiration driving you forward. But you want to balance it out with a bit of patience, an openness to learning, yeah, an understanding that it's going to take some time, it's going to take some discipline to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. We've got the Fool under here too, pointing to like you're right at the beginning of this process, this new beginning. Sounds great. All right, let's see what bird has a message for you. And since this is a new deck for me, I might read the blurb in the book, or part of it. Let's see what we got here for our fire signs. What do they need to know, please? I love the feel of these cards. We've got the Peregrine Falcon, foresight and adventure. Ooh, I love that. Number 23. That's great. I think that is very perfect for the rest of the message here. Okay. The word peregrine originally came from the Latin peregrinus, I don't speak Latin, meaning foreign, but has evolved over time to mean wandering pilgrim. Nesting on cliff tops or even ledges within skyscrapers, the peregrine falcon sees all from its high vantage point. This strong and determined bird of prey is a watchful guardian of the skies and adaptable enough to live in almost any habitat. These qualities make it an all-rounder with a strong ability to provide for itself and succeed. Woohoo! All right, wherever it makes it its home. Nice. I feel like that really captures all the cards here. So a journey, a homecoming, or period of extended travel may be dominating your thoughts. Spend time on forward planning. By manifesting a successful outcome, you'll end up where you need to be. Okay, fire signs, that's what I've got for you. I hope you're having a great week. I hope this is helpful to you. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, next we've got our earth signs. How are you doing, earth signs? Taurus, Virgo, Capricorns, fellow earth signs. Hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good week. Let's see what we've got for you here. Oh, well, they're flying out. We've got the Empress. We've got the Ace of Cups. The Five of Cups and the Four of Cups. Wow, that's so interesting. So the fire signs had a lot of fire. Earth signs, you've got a lot of wire. Maybe. You got a lot of water. I was distracted because there was yet another, which I don't know if you can see this. This is Muse of Emotions, which is the King of Cups at the bottom of the deck. That's hilarious. To me, at least. I always crack myself up. Anyway, let's get started here. So we've got the Empress. What a great card to start with. The Empress, I feel like we just had the Empress recently. Oh no, never mind. That was in one of my false starts yesterday. Okay, focus. The Empress, this particular version, I love because she is, so the Empress is all about having everything that you desire, right? Opening yourself to receive the abundance that you desire, whatever that means to you. She is Venus, the divine feminine, and she is also like birthing something new. Oftentimes she's represented as somebody who is pregnant. And in this case, I feel like with all of these, you know, it's kind of a galaxy there. She's like birthing a whole new world, you know, for herself. And I love that there's this light emanating from her, which speaks to coming from a place of love. I mean, Venus is all about love. And so she's coming from her heart space, but being that it's yellow and shiny like that, it also makes me think of the solar plexus. And so she's not only coming from a place of love and light, but a place of confidence and strength, but a feminine strength, right? A receptivity, a creativity, also nurturing and loving. Next, we have another card of love. If I can, it's the, sorry, the light is, there we go. The Ace of Cups, or in this deck, the Ace of Emotions. So the Ace of Cups is all about filling your cup. It's about self-love, starting with self-love and knowing and trusting that the more we can love ourselves and fill our own cup and take care of ourselves, the more we have to give to others, right? So it's very much that analogy of the oxygen mask, right? That you need to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you try to help somebody else. So you're being encouraged here, earth signs, to really take care of yourself and really focus on making sure that you are loving yourself, all of yourself. Here we have the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups speaks to disappointments and, you know, just being in that state of kind of being focused on those disappointments. And so the message of the Five of Cups is encouraging you to actually shift your focus away from whatever it is that's disappointed you and more to loving yourself, right? More to taking care of yourself and loving yourself and focusing on how you can fill your own cup versus focusing on maybe others who've disappointed you, maybe experiences that you found disappointing. You know, this card is very much about kind of looking at the past versus staying present and looking forward to the future. And then we also have the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups is, it's similar to the Five of Cups, but different. So the Five of Cups is when you're kind of focused on past disappointments or disappointments from the past or things that have disappointed you, right? Whereas the Four of Cups is focused, it's kind of also focused on what hasn't been working, what's been kind of, yeah, what hasn't been working. And then, you know, in the traditional Rider-Waite, the character in the card is focused on these three cups and it's just like, yeah, that didn't work. And then another cup comes in, like another an opportunity, right, from spirit, from God, from source, from the universe. But the person is so caught up in the past disappointments that they're either not seeing the current opportunity that actually could be the one that works, or they're so focused on the fact that these other things didn't work that they don't believe this is going to work. So they've already convinced themselves that something's not going to work without even trying it. So it can create a sense of kind of cynicism of kind of what's the point, right? You can also kind of it can reflect kind of a dissatisfaction with your reality. And, you know, we've talked a lot about how what you feel inside, what you think, what you feel, what's going on in here often is reflected in our reality. So you actually have a lot of control over whether you you fall prey to things like the Four of Cups and the Five of Cups, right? This kind of dissatisfaction, this disappointment, right? Instead of, actually, it's interesting. I just, like, if you put the ace here, you can actually, like, with the ace, the 4 and the 5 and the ace make the 10 of Cups, emotional fulfillment. So what's needed is really, oop, for me to look at, not you. What's needed is the openness, the receptivity, the trust, the confidence of the Empress, the knowing that there is something new available to you. You are the creator of your world. You can create a new world. It's really important to be in your heart and to be filling your cup and taking care of yourself and showing yourself lots of love. That is only going to help you with this. And we have the King of Cups here, the Muse of Emotions, who speaks to mastery of the emotions. So when those, negative emotions come in, the King of Cups is able to navigate these negative emotions, these kind of choppy waters around them, by maintaining a sense of cool, calm, and collectedness, right? They have achieved emotional maturity. They are not yanked around by their emotion. They're able to stay centered and stay balanced despite what's going on around them, despite situations in their reality, right? So the combination of all these things is what you're being encouraged to really focus on at this point of the week here. So really taking care of yourself, trusting yourself, right? So, I mean, we've got 4 out of 5 cards here are cups, and they're kind of speaking to the challenges as well as the solutions. Let's take a look at the wisdom of the birds and see what messages we have here. What bird has a message for our earth signs? Well, I'm just going to take one because I'm going to read it. Just one, please. Alrighty. Ooh, actually, this was, I know it was the Capricorn card. So we have the Dove. Peace and reconciliation. Card number 5. Oh, that's interesting because 5 speaks to challenges. You do have the 5 of Cups here. You have the Ace and the 4, makes another 5, and here we have the Dove. So let's read about the Dove here. Yeah, I think it's really, a lot of it is about finding that peace within is really going to be helpful for you all this week, if and when you navigate any of these challenges that we are talking about here. Oh, okay, there we go. The dove is recognized around the world as a symbol of serenity and hope. Coupled with the olive branch, which has stood for peace and reconciliation in Western civilizations since at least the 5th century BCE, this pairing tells us that stability and calm are on their way. Doves are often released during marriage or funeral services, where the purity of their white feathers and freedom of flight demonstrate love and solidarity and offer support for the spiritual journey of all present. You have a gift for finding the positive in any situation. Continue to build strong personal connections by offering your hopeful and optimistic energy to those who need it, including yourself, and maybe starting with yourself. All right, Earth signs, that's what I've got for you. I hope you are having a fantastic week. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye. All right, next we have our air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. How are you doing, air signs? Hope you're having a good week. Let's see what we've got for you. All right, we've got the wheel, We've got the Page of Wands. Did any of you get the wheel in our weekly reading? I can't remember. We've got the Three of Swords and, nope, this one. The Tower. Okay then. And we've got the Nine of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Okay, air signs. All right, so we are starting with the wheel, which is the Wheel of Fortune. And the wheel always is about change and the inevitability of change. And, you know, when I think about the wheel, you know, you see that there's a person at the top of the wheel, at the bottom of the wheel, and on the sides of the wheel. And I love how this is depicted, because sometimes when the Wheel of Fortune has the people at the different parts of the wheel, you know, the person on the bottom is like not doing well. Whereas this person is holding up the wheel at the bottom. And they're just like doing some exercises and spinning that wheel, which is fascinating. So there's like a sense of balance, there's a sense of ease, there's a sense of strength, even when you're at the bottom of the wheel. And the two at the side of the wheel, even the one that's upside down, that's kind of moving in the direction towards the bottom, it's like they are just having a good time. They are just going with the flow, right? And so the key to the wheel of if I can speak, the key to the Wheel of Fortune is that, you know, because change is inevitable, at any point in time, you could be at the top of the wheel, you could be on the side of the wheel, going down, or you could be coming up, right? You could be anywhere on this wheel. And so the message here is to really make the best of wherever you are at this point in time. And, you know, we've been talking so much, I'm getting sick of myself saying this, but about how much change is happening. There's so much change happening around us. People are going through big changes. So it's just it's time of change. Change is an inevitable thing, right? We always go through change. That's just what life is about. It doesn't stay static. And so what you can do during times of change is really try to go with the flow and try to make the best of any particular situation that you're in. I know that's easier said than done. So, you know, you can only do your best. You can only do what you can do, but trying your best to make the most of things is really gonna help you. It's only gonna help you. The other thing that's going to help you here is the Page of Wands, is tapping into your imagination, into your creativity, into your passion, and really focusing your attention on that, right? On what it is that you want to be moving towards. What kinds of things are exciting you right now? What kinds of ideas are you having? Where's your imagination taking you? What kind of dreams are you having? One thing that, you know, it's interesting, in one of the decks that I was using, I can't remember what it's called, sorry, but it has a kind of a different version of the Page of Wands that I'm being drawn to right now, which is this idea that the Page of Wands sometimes can have a lot of ideas, but can lack in follow through, right? So it's not to say that you should follow through with ideas that you're not resonating with, but when you do have an idea and it does resonate, or let me back up. If you have an idea and you're like, nah, then move on. But when you land on an idea that does resonate for you and you're like, yeah, then you really want to focus on achieving that, or, you know, moving forward with that. So, yeah, kind of finishing what you start when it resonates, when it feels right. And I'm not saying right away, but really doing what's needed to kind of keep moving you forward so that you actually can achieve, you know, complete an idea, or kind of, you know, follow through with an idea, I guess is the right word here. We have the Three of Swords here next, the Three of Voices in this deck. And so you may be doing some healing right now. You may be feeling some feelings, and that's okay. That actually, it's important to feel those feelings, and to really do what you need to do to heal anything that is coming up for you, any wounding, any betrayals that you've experienced, any disappointments, to really take care of yourself and focus on how you can process the emotions that are coming up, how you can kind of tap into the root cause of whatever's coming up for you, how you can also tap into spiritual support. You can see that there's this entity that is weeping with this person, right? So you've got that support, you've got that caring, you've got that empathy of spirit, of the universe, of your higher self, shining a light on you and supporting you in this healing process. So it's really important to know that. And by doing this healing, we've got next the Tower, which, you know, can be a scary card to some people, but actually the Tower is always something needed. So to me, what I'm seeing here is that there's some change happening that, and you know, it's being fueled by your passion, by something that's exciting you, right? You're moving in this new direction that's based on something that is exciting to you, or, you know, some kind of new idea, some inspiration. There's healing that has to happen for you to actually follow through with this and achieve this, right? You also need to be going with the flow and trusting that this is a positive change so that it can break down any old crap that's not needed anymore, so that you can build whatever this is on a stronger foundation. And know that you are at the end of a challenging cycle, right? So the Three of Swords tends to be challenging, right? It tends to be something that isn't easy, nor is the Tower. I mean, the Tower, like I said, is always a positive thing ultimately, but it can be challenging. And you have the Tower and the Wheel here. So big changes are happening. And these are two major arcanas that speak to big changes in your life. So know that big changes are happening right now. Know that you are doing a lot of work to get into this new, exciting stage of life where you're going to really, things are going to lighten up and they're going to be lighter, brighter. You see, everything's kind of rainbow colored. I'm just noticing the cat here. So there's going to be a sense of independence with whatever you're working on here. The sun is shining in the background. It's hard to see, but there, see it. So this portends to lots of good things coming in for you as you close out this cycle that's been pretty challenging. So hang in there. Trust that you're at the end of this. Do the work that you need to do to heal. Trust with the changes. Trust in the changes that are happening, and really try to go with the flow, go with where you're being called, where you're being pulled, where you're being drawn. And that's only going to help you through any challenges that you're facing right now. Okay, air signs. Let's see what our final message is here from the birds. What bird has a message for our air signs? Lola's here to provide some comfort if needed. Air signs. You can see her ear there. All right, what final advice or guidance do we have here for our air signs? The Eurasian magpie, cunning and confidence, number 33. Oh, that's a master number. And that's making me think of threes that speak to support, right? You've got support. Lola is here to show you her booty and give you support, right? Yeah. So let's read what this card has to say. Number, what did I say, 33. You want to sit down here, Lola? You want to give some love and support to the air signs? That's nice. Thank you. Okay. Let's see, actually. I think this is a little better. There we go. Okay. For centuries, European folklore has labeled the magpie a trickster, mischief maker, or bad omen. Even though some cultures see it as a symbol of change and transformation, hello, reinforced here through the birch tree, which represents new beginnings and growth. Yes, the magpie's opportunistic, brash, and predatory behaviors undoubtedly contribute to its negative reputation. However, its intelligence and self-preservation skills, right, that healing that needs to be done, are certainly to be admired. Appreciate what you already have, not just what seems new and sparkly. Demonstrate integrity through your words and actions. You'll be held in higher regard if you respect others' boundaries. Okay. I got a mouthful of fur. Well, that's what I have for you, air signs. I hope that was helpful. I hope you are able to kind of overcome any challenges that you're facing, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thanks for being here. Bye. Oh, you cutie McFruity. Such a cute girl. She is really offering you her love and support, air signs. Okay. Last but not least, let's see if I can get these cards out from under Lola. Do you mind if I pull these out, little missy? She's giving me a little bath. Oh, okay, there we go. Sorry, baby girl. Okay, whoopsie. Water signs. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Lola hopes you're doing well. Let's see what messages we have for you. First tickling me. All right, we've got the moon, the 5 of Swords, the Hierophant, another 5, the Page of Wands, air signs got that too, and the Queen of Cups. Okay, so we start here with a little furry face. We start here with the moon. So what I'm getting from the moon here is that there are some unknowns right now. You're moving in a direction that is not completely clear. The path is not completely clear. The future is not completely clear. There are some unknowns. And that could be creating some anxiety, some fear. It could be, because of that, it could be bringing up some old programming, some limiting beliefs, some, really, if you think about it, some things that need to be addressed, right? Because if they're coming up, they're within you, and you know, things like that, like these limiting beliefs, the negative thinking, old programming, thoughts that get in our way, that kind of create internal conflict, tend to come up when we are afraid of something, right? When there's something like we don't know what to expect, so we might resort or fall into kind of a place of fear. So you are actually being asked to look at and notice if and when anything comes up for you that is like falls into that category of kind of negative thinking, limiting beliefs, inner conflict, you know, being kind of that inner critic, anything that is negative in the headspace, okay? And by being aware, by being aware of what comes up during these times of kind of darkness or unknown, you know, where there are unknowns before you, by noticing if and when any of these negative thoughts come up, you can actually address what is happening, right? You can What am I trying to say? I'm sorry, I'm distracted by Lola. She's rubbing all over the place. Okay, let's focus here. So when you are facing an unknown future, or things that are unknown in the future that raise fears, that raise, negative thinking, limiting beliefs, it's an opportunity for you to notice when these come up so that you can not dissuade, what am I trying to say? So that you can actually speak, you can actually disabuse yourself of these notions. That's what I'm trying to say. Thanks, Lola. so that by noticing when they come up, you can be like, oh, that's not true. Or you can notice what comes up and say, where did that come from? Whose voice is that, right? So basically kind of addressing these if and when they come up and trying to understand where they're coming from so that you can see clearly that they actually are somebody else, from your past. It was something that you learned to believe when you were a child based on whatever experiences, or maybe you learned this in a relationship. Whatever the source is, you can kind of get to the root of whatever this is so that you can really negate it, right? And recognize, like, that's not my truth. That's not true. That's just some old story that I'm holding on to, right? Because you've got a lot of inner wisdom. You have a lot of experiences. You've developed a lot of wisdom and knowledge through your experiences that you have access to, right? So when you are in this state of, gosh, I don't like, what is happening in my future? I don't know. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going to happen next. And fearful thoughts or, negative thoughts start coming up, and you can, start addressing them and say, hey, wait a second, that's not true. That's an old story. That is an old tape. That is something a teacher said to me. That is something my father said to me. That is something my mother, my brother, my cousin, whatever, whoever, that old boyfriend, that old girlfriend, that old person that I dated, right? Whatever the origin story is for this, you can really attend to that and see that for what it is, and instead, pivot away from this kind of thinking to this kind of thinking where it's like, oh, I trust myself. I know that I have what it takes to move through this challenge. I know that things are going to become clear to me in divine timing, right when they need to become clear. I trust myself. I trust the universe. I know that I'm okay, right? The Hierophant. This is your connection to spirit. So tapping into that connection to spirit and trusting in that, right? Being patient with yourself. At the same time, focusing your energy on what it is that you're excited about, on creative projects, on your dreams, your imagination, and really kind of, if you haven't, maybe you're at the beginning of a project, maybe there's inspiration to start something new, some creative endeavor, moving in a new direction based on your imagination, your dreams, your creativity, your inspiration. And the other thing about this card, I feel like this was more relevant in the air sign reading, but this card can also speak to kind of having a lot of ideas and kind of dispersing your energy, like a little bit here, and not really ever kind of pursuing anything fully. So it's important to kind of see what sticks, right? Try one thing at a time, see if it moves you, see if it continues to inspire you. If it is, then keep going. If not, then try the next thing, rather than kind of spreading yourself too thin in a lot of directions. And finally, we've got the Queen of Cups here, the Queen of Emotions. And so she is all about what I was talking about here, right? Kind of getting to the root. Like when things come up, when negative thoughts come up, they are typically connected to negative emotions. And so looking at what is the root of this? What is the origin story of this? So that you can understand it, so that you can see what's yours and what's not yours, so that you can process your emotions, right? Honor any emotions that are coming up so that you can process them, learn from them, receive the guidance from them, integrate them, and move on. And I'm just seeing the Knight of Pentacles underneath the Queen of Cups. So just a reminder to take things one step at a time, be patient, trust in divine timing, trust that things are happening, even if they're moving slowly. Okay, water signs, let's see what bird has a message for you here. What final advice and guidance do we have for our water signs, please? We've got the Hooded Oriole, number 37, a 10. Ooh, okay, so you're at the end here. You are closing out a cycle. And it's an ending and beginning. We've been talking about this a lot the last couple of weeks. It says vivacity and single-mindedness. Oh, interesting. That's making me think of this, right? Focusing on one thing at a time, kind of pursuing one idea, one inspiration at a time versus kind of spreading yourself too thin. Let's see what the book says. All right, Hooded Oriole. The hooded oriole arriving in a garden heralds the start of springtime and sunshine, nesting high up in the trees such as the palm, representing peace, victory, and abundance. Their tuneful whistle and bright yellow and black feathers suggest a colorful love of life. Hooded orioles have adapted to feed acrobatically, often hanging upside down to feast on ripe fruits, which demonstrates an ability to take charge of their environment. Even powerhouses of productivity need a reliable support network. Embrace ideas your friendship groups have to offer, even if their approaches vary from your own. Try to avoid becoming fixated on one target or topic. That's interesting. So that's kind of the other side of this, right? It's like it's like focus on one thing at a time, but don't get too fixated on one thing, especially if it's not working, right? Don't push your effort to make something happen, right? If something's not working, move on to something else, right? But make sure you're not spreading yourself too thin at the same time here. All right, water signs, that's what I've got for you. I hope that was helpful. Take good care. And that is the end of this little check-in, elemental check-in. I hope you all got something out of that. I hope it provides some helpful information as you move through your week. And I will be back. I think since I'm doing this today on Thursday, I'll be posting the weekend reading, and this is going to be another sign-based reading, but they'll be a little shorter than the weekly reading. But I'm going to do that, post that on Saturday. So stay tuned for that. Thanks again for joining me. I'm sending you lots of love. Take good care, and I will see you next time. Bye.